Somewhere in the middle of trying to recover from people pleasing, most women find themselves doing a quieter version of the same thing they were trying to stop. They're explaining their healing to people who didn't ask. They're posting about boundaries while still managing everyone's response to them setting one. They're doing the work, really doing it, but doing it in a way that keeps one eye on how it looks. The strategy just found a new costume. It is just as exhausting as the original. I'm Sandy Bartlett, shamanic practitioner. Today, we're talking about 3 things to avoid when you're recovering from people pleasing because the pattern is more creative than most women realize. And it will find a way to keep running even inside the recovery process itself. The first thing to avoid is doing the recovery for an audience. This one is subtle because it looks like growth from the outside. You're talking about the work, you're naming the pattern, you're sharing your process with the people in your life. And underneath all of it, you're still watching how they're responding, still adjusting based on what they seem to think, still making sure your growth is landing in a way that keeps everyone comfortable. That's not recovery. That is the same strategy running in a more socially acceptable direction. Every time you redirect your healing energy into managing how it looks to others, you leak what you need for the actual work. Soul retrieval requires bringing that energy back to yourself fully without doing it for a room. The recovery that actually changes something tends to be quiet. It happens in the body, in the private moments, in the work that nobody sees and nobody needs to validate. Not because you're hiding, because it belongs to you. In soul retrieval work, one of the things we look at is where your energy is going. Every time you manage how your healing looks, every time you explain it, justify it, make sure the people around you understand and approve of it, you send a piece of your energy outward, away from the work, into managing the response. That is a very old pattern running in a new direction. The mechanism is identical. The approval you used to seek for staying quiet and agreeable, you're now seeking for your growth and your changing. The target shifted, the leak didn't. Soul retrieval is the process of calling that energy back, stopping the leak, keeping what belongs to you inside the work where it can actually do something. Tell me in the comments about a time you explained your healing to someone who didn't ask. What made you feel like you needed to justify it? I was 14 the first time I understood that needing something made me an inconvenience. My mom and my brother and I had been traveling. My brother and I flew home early. My dad picked us up from the airport. We were sitting all 3 in the front seat, 3 across. This was before bucket seats were standard. And when I got out of the car, I saw the stain on the seat. I was mortified. I told my dad, what else could I do? He called a neighbor who was a nurse. She was a family friend. She came over, showed me what to do, and got me supplies. She was kind, but I didn't feel seen. I felt exposed. Not the way you feel seen when something important is witnessed, the way you feel when a secret gets outed before you had a chance to decide what to do with it. I didn't feel celebrated. I felt stripped. That moment solidified something I'd already started to absorb, that needing things was an inconvenience, that the body announcing something before your voice gets a chance is something to be managed, not honored, that the right response to needing help is to make the whole thing as small and contained and untroubling to everyone else as possible. I carried that blueprint for decades. And when I started doing recovery work, real recovery work, one of the things I had to learn was that The instinct to contain my own process, to make it manageable for the people around me, was the pattern running inside the healing itself. Recovery does not require witnesses. It requires you to stop managing it for everyone else and let it actually happen. If you're recognizing that the pattern has found its way into your recovery process itself, that you're still seeking approval even for your own healing, this is soul retrieval work. Soul retrieval is the process of reclaiming the energy you've been sending outward, calling it back, stopping the leak so there's actually something left to work with. I go deeper into this work every week inside Journey to Self, the Awakening on School. Come join us there. The link is in the description. The second thing to avoid is expecting the people around you to change at your pace. When you start recovering, when you start taking up more space, saying no, responding differently to situations that used to automatically trigger the pattern, the people in your life will feel it. Some of them will adjust, and some of them will push back in ways that feel enormous. This is not a sign that the work is harming your relationships. It's a sign that your relationships were built around a version of you that is changing. That is going to require renegotiation. Some relationships will come through it, some won't. The mistake most women make is interpreting the pushback as evidence that they did something wrong. They soften, they explain, they go back to managing, and the work stalls. The disruption is not the problem. It is confirmation that something real is changing. You do not owe anyone a pace that keeps them comfortable. The third thing to avoid is waiting until you feel ready. The nervous system is not going to feel ready. It was built to keep you in the familiar, even when the familiar is what's hurting you. Readiness for most women never fully arrives before the action. You move first. The feeling of readiness catches up later, usually after you've already done the thing and survived it. Waiting for a feeling that the nervous system is designed to withhold is not caution. It is the strategy keeping itself in place. Which of these three that I just went through is the one you needed to hear most today? Drop the number below in the comments. Recovery from people-pleasing is not a clean process. It's not a straight line, and it is not always recognizable as progress while it's happening. The pattern is creative. It will find ways to keep running that look like growth, that feel like healing, that are truly well-intentioned and are still underneath the same mechanism. That is not a reason to give up. It's a reason to stay curious, to keep asking whether what you're doing in the name of recovery is actually serving your healing or serving the pattern's need to have an audience. The work that changes something is usually the quietest. It happens when nobody is watching. It happens in the body. It happens in the moments when you choose your own truth over managing someone else's response to it and don't need anyone to know that you did. I'll see you next time.